Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. Joan and Janet are subtle energy empaths in the field of consciousness. Their passion is to support your evolutionary growth and change. Join them as they talk about our individual and collective evolutions, explore what living consciously with energetic awareness means in our daily lives. Access with them a state of grace. There is no time, no space. Feel the warmth and acceptance and opening into infinite possibilities. Combining a broad collection of modalities and personal experiences, they share with humility and humor their appreciation for the body, mind, spirit connections that we call life. Now, here is Joan Newcomb and Janet Barrett.
Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. We're your co-host, Joan Newcomb, coming from Tacoma, Washington, and my partner, Janet Barrett, from Portland, Oregon.
Hello, everyone. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's gorgeous outside, not a cloud in the sky. So for all of us East Coast people that are maybe deep, we'll enjoy it for you.
We're sorry we sent you our snow this Christmas.
Yeah. But we're feeling okay about it, really, on another level.
Since we normally have rain from Labor Day to the day after July 4th.
Yeah.
We're okay with this part of global warming.
Exactly.
So we have a great show for you today. And on a completely different note, it's about sexuality, gender, and consciousness. And so Janet is from Portland, and this morning, yesterday morning, the new governor of the state of Oregon was sworn in, and Kate Brown is a political person who's also a well-known married bisexual woman. And this adds such a titillating flavor to the story. And in the media and building morphic fields awareness around sexuality and gender in these last few weeks, there's about gay marriage and sexual behaviors and transsexual energy. And so, how do we relate to this, and what is this all about with consciousness?
It's a lot of stuff, isn't it, Joan?
It's a lot. It's exciting. I'm thrilled for you guys in Oregon. I think it's a fantastic step forward in consciousness.
It's really for all our listeners out there. Sexuality and gender issues. Nobody gets away from them. And so we want to look at this from the standpoint that you and I are two older white women, and the only thing we're experts on is how we experience consciousness. And we'll save all the stats and data for the scientists and those that deal in those realms. But we want to look at this from a question of how does consciousness at play? And how to feel good about who we are from the state of grace and with warmth, support, non-judgment, and look at how we show up in the world these days and what that's like for all of us and how to navigate where we find ourselves.
Yeah. And so this is going to be a real juicy topic, and we enjoy hearing from you, and we love it when our listeners send in their topics and their suggestions. You can email us at consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. And you can also join us on Facebook and on Twitter. You can go to Facebook and look up Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet and join the group, join the fun, and you can message us that way, your ideas about what we should talk about. You can also follow us on Twitter at Joan and Janet, and you can also then mention us and ask the questions, ask us the things you're curious about, what's up for you, and we will bring it on air. We'll mention your name on air. We'll give you your 15 minutes of fame, and we will address it from our awareness as consciousness.
And there's a lot to be conscious of lately.
And by the way, I have a new thing just for this month of straddling February and March, talking about gender and sexuality, straddling. I have a special. If you want to book a session with me, I will give you a free book. So I have 2 books out. I have Mystic Musings and I have Tapestry of Time. Mystic Musings is nonfiction. It is my essays that I have written over the last 4.5 to 12 years. It's a collection of those essays all about consciousness, and it includes some techniques and things like that. And then my fictional book, Tapestry of Time, it's actually the first in a trilogy that's in the process of coming out, and it is the sexiest transcendence ever. So it's an erotic novel, and you can get one of those if you book a session with me, and you can go to my website to sign up, joan-newcomb.com. What have you got going, Janet?
Well, I'm still offering, not still, because, some things are timeless. And I have a top 10 list, cheat sheet, that really includes 28 points about enjoying life that people are welcome to have a copy of. If you check out my website, which I appreciate the feedback because of all the different responsive designs that we have and platforms that we have to present ourselves on these days, and let me know how it worked on whatever mechanism that you're observing the website on. And you can email me at janetb@janetandbeyond.com. And you can get, if you subscribe for the weekly blog that I present, Life in the Beyond, that is my weekly writing and also does some quotes and some conversations and has a little bit of this and that goes out weekly. We'll get that. And also there's a $25 discount on your first session with me. So there's lots of ways for you to interact with Joan and I on personal levels. And we want to make sure that you're aware of that. And we look forward to hearing from you. And, let me see. I think I'm having challenges with my clock here. So what are you noticing, Joan?
Let me see. Your body clock, your internal clock.
Time ticking away.
Well, I had a real interesting experience with time too, and that's a topic for another show as well. But yes, I have been feeling like I haven't had enough time, and then I've had these long stretches of time. So we've got plenty of time. According to my clock, we have a whole 2 minutes that we could talk about sexuality, gender, and consciousness before we drop into heart space and everything.
All right.
So yeah, it's a real titillating time. It is a real. Oh, I know. Did we mention that we're a couple of old white ladies and we don't?
Yes. Yes. I said that at the top of the hour. I just wanted to be clear with everyone. But it's sexuality, gender affects all of us. Yeah. And we're seeing it in our own lives. We're seeing it with our clients. We're seeing it in the conversation that the media provides, knowingly or unknowingly. And we can feel the morphic field energies brewing, I think, to a certain degree. And so it's time to maybe look at these things for people from a heart-centered awareness space and in that state of grace, of warmth, support, non-judgment. And I want to be very clear with everyone. In our world, in tracking consciousness, there are no rights, there are no wrongs. There's just experience and information and resonance and light. And we're realizing how judgments have been made and they don't always serve us. And we're looking to provide ourselves and you listening ways to breach maybe positions that you've taken that really aren't necessarily your own, or questions that you've held about yourself, and to say where it is all okay. And in grace, there's no right or wrong. So we're going to invite after the break to take a look at all that.
Yeah, so this show is an opportunity for you to try some new positions. We have to take a commercial break, but stay tuned as we're going to talk about sexuality, gender, and consciousness in a state of grace.
Are you ready to take a quantum leap in your life? Joan Newcomb is a conscious mastery coach who empowers you to navigate life from your own inner wisdom using energy techniques. Contact her through her website, joan-newcomb.com, and take conscious mastery of your life today. That's joan-newcomb.com.
Would you like a fresh approach to the challenges you're dealing with? Janet Barrett is a subtle energy empath. Feeling the energies present in your myths and language, she offers a supportive, non-judgmental viewpoint. Experience new ways to relate to and release the energies in those stories. Receive a $25 discount on your first session. Email Janet for an appointment at janetb@janetandbeyond.com. Come explore with Janet. New possibilities for a joy-filled life.
You are listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. To reach our program, please send questions and comments to consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. That's consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. Now, back to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet.
Welcome back. You're listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet, and I'm your host, Joan, along here with Janet, and we are talking about sexuality, gender, and consciousness.
All in a state of grace.
Yes.
Don't forget the grace part. So, let's see. Everyone, let's just take some time and let's see about dropping in to heart space and unified consciousness and see where we're at today. And so just take a breath, relax your shoulders. The part of you that has the wherewithal to be with us, let's just get them active and put whatever's going on aside over there. Take a breath. And let's just do the diving board. The diving board, that feels so flowy. I like that. So picture a diving board off the back of your eyes. And just do a layback. And just allow yourself to drop into that space and place where you feel like heart is. There we go. You get out of the pool and drip dry, magically drip dry. Go through the doors and look at the emotional terrain around you this time. We're talking about sexuality, gender, consciousness. So you might notice a certain flavoring that's in those emotions. Maybe you notice a thing, an object, or a color, or a piece of art, or whatever your emotional terrain feels like to you. Notice what it feels like. Don't be attached. Just acknowledge it. Because we're talking about stuff that has a lot of emotional content to it. And depending upon how you view sexuality, how you enjoy gender, how you experience consciousness. So just notice it. Don't judge it. And this is the key. Don't judge it. Notice. Just relax. There we go. And then just step out into the all, core. Unified consciousness. And this is where we'll play today. Warmth, support, non-judgment. So whatever you notice, it's just information. What you got, Joan?
I got lots of So what I have been noticing is that I've been noticing several things on several levels, but consciousness is coming more into form. And if you think of consciousness as energy, as light, and as awareness, it is like that there is more light being shone into the world. And therefore, anything that's not light, anything that's smudgy or shadowy, but also anything that is restrictive and limiting is coming to the surface and disintegrating. And that includes our limited and restrictive identifications. And that includes our identifications, that includes, how we define our sexuality, who we believe ourselves to be, and all those things. And so those issues are coming to the surface. And that's why we started off with the governor of California, who his
Oregon,
yes, the governor of Oregon is that she's married to a man, but she is also publicly declared as a bisexual woman, which thwarts anybody who wants to try to dig something out of her past. It's right there in the open. There is nothing hidden about it. And it is thrilling to me to have a person in the political realm who is being honest and transparent and standing in the light, with full honesty about who she is. And it gives, to me, it breathes new life into the major area in the world that is still sort of the old white male's bastion, the old power paradigms.
I think she brings up, as what else we see, gay marriage in different states and orientations and 50 Shades of Grey and all this, that the time is ripe for us to examine ourselves in a metaphorical sense, let's say that. So in new ways, it brings up our comfort in questioning assumptions. And so much of who we are, I think, is run based on assumptions. And we just don't even think to question unless you're a person that's got that coming up for them. And I don't think there's anything fashionable or that people make choices to be in fashion about some deep core stuff like this. So I think you put that aside. If you're going to look at self-examination as far as how you fit into a community or what that community is and how you relate to yourself and your neighbor, the self-identity is always up, right? And we keep redefining ourselves. If you take the judgments out of it, it's just all consciousness expressing itself and making choices and how to experience love, and what that might be for the individual might not be the same for the next person. So, I'm excited too. It's not something I would, go, oh, okay, we need to look at that now. And it's like here, so let's play with it and let's see what shows up for any of us.
Yeah, there's a couple of different issues here. Is that we've got people standing in the light about their sexual orientation and their sexual preferences, and it's refreshing that people don't need to be limited nowadays, about who they get to love.
Mm-hmm.
And there's and to me, this is also about consciousness coming into form, because as consciousness, we are pure love. And so we do love everything. And so that's what is coming in and coming through is more permission to love who we love.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this other interesting thing that is happening is that the transgender issue, where there are beings coming into form that feel like they were born in the wrong body. And that's interesting to me because as consciousness, I feel that we choose our circumstances, and we choose the parents we've got, we choose where we're born, and we choose the body that we come into. So what's up with that we have beings coming into form going, I want to be set up differently. And yet, you know what? We also choose our conflicts that we come into form with as well. So,
right.
So that's, I'm curious about that. And what I appreciate is seeing how that has come to light and how parents, for them, you know, there are parents who are holding a bigger space for their child to be whoever they want to be. So there's greater opportunity for people to be at choice with their identification as well. From, 3-4 years old, when you do start to really have that initial sexual impulse. You do know I, I liked Mo from the Three Stooges, and I liked the Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, and I liked the cartoon character Hercules when I was 3. I was pretty certain about what I was interested in. So, we're acknowledging that, and we're allowing that now.
I think there's so many variables out there. There are no rights. There are no wrongs unless there's harm intended, and even that is a judgment call, right? I think what we have to look at is in our allowance and tolerance for all, we do get to still make distinctions about what is appropriate behavior for ourselves. What is appropriate behavior as a community to hold it in a place of well-being, and all the little quirks and flavors that can take, we have to appreciate and also look at what motivates people from a place of worth. And as consciousness, you get to pick and choose. And I don't think people will do any of this deep soul searching awareness as without any sort of emotional context.
Yeah, I may have come in and misheard you, or it could be that we could be misheard in that, as consciousness we choose, but we come out and in our bodies, it's not like being gay is a choice, or being is a choice. From the next realm, that's not, you can't pray away the gay, and nor should you need to,
Right. I don't think we need to apologize for who we are. My basic thing is this. Do I need to construct my reality based on fear, based on judgment, based on anything less than feeling good? And how that shows up, what if you could just feel good about yourself? What if we could take the judgments off? People are so invested in their children to show up certain ways as a reflection of themselves. Anyone in a relationship is aware that other partner or partners is reflecting about them. And so it's ultimately our choice. And those of us that we're opening up our definitions. Our definitions are very limited about what is okay. And that's what's exciting for you and I as we see that happening is, I think a lot of problems and the chaos we see in these big systems that we all partake in, politics and business, etc., are all kind of the same thing. We think too small. We defined ourselves too little. And there are more variables. It is not just right or wrong. It's right, a little bit okay. Ooh, that really feels good. Oh, that's not so good. Oh, well, a little bit's okay. There's all these places that you can go anywhere between right and wrong. And so many things are taken out of context in our media thrillness, of and titillation and gossip, etc. And that's very delicate dance that we do with, well, that picture supports my belief system, so I'll empower it and pass it on. Oh, that picture, that doesn't fit in with my picture. I just won't notice it. And we're doing this all the time as we interact. So I would offer people is just be in heart space. Just notice right now what's coming to mind for you. And just maybe think of an individual that you have a particular challenge with, and I'm not limiting it to any kind of anything. Just notice, what if they were okay in your mind? What if you took away all your judgments about that individual? It's easy when it becomes focused about sexuality or gender because it's so obvious in your face. Gender, you're male or female, right? Or we think it is, but obviously sometimes it's a little different. We like things simple. The mind likes things simple. Then it doesn't have to think about it. It makes a choice and then it's on to the next thing. And we have to remind ourselves, now just a minute, because that saying it's this or that leaves that can create ambiguity. Mm-hmm. And that sense of, well, I think it's that, but maybe it's that. And then you're in another discussion. You're in another compromise. You're in another state of doubt. And that doesn't feel so good. So, okay, I'm going to say it's this. Well, you'd be totally wrong. It could have been 50-50, right? And you don't always make the right choice. Now you've built a whole belief system about something that you didn't feel correct about in the first place. You had a question, and now you've decided because you've got to make a decision, and you're now forced to create a belief system to support that. Well, and then that doesn't feel good either. So there's lots of different ways that we hold information that are not useful. So just go back and notice now that individual, if this was feeling different, what that would be like. What if they're not at all what you think they are? And what if it was okay? What if you're not at all what you think you are? And what if that was okay? I think I've lost you, Joan. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Just a little bit. You're there. Okay.
Yes. Yes, Mercury's gone direct, but it's still not out of its shadow, so there's technical difficulties going on. So
it's pretty quiet out there.
Which is nice. That means they're listening. They're listening. So that's helping to quiet the gremlin voices within them, to let them know that if you are going through questioning, if you are going through opening up, if you are going through any kind of identity issues, you are right. You are right in the right place in the right time. You are responding to the changes happening in consciousness. So,
I think there's tracking, I guess it's self-doubt. I think we tapped into something there. I think all of us, you reflect on your teen years, and being a child and how insecure one might have felt or pressured or just unknowing because the information we had didn't match up with what we were feeling and we couldn't express what we were feeling anyway to put a label on it. We just felt something. And I think this retains a lot of its strength around issues of gender and sexuality. Now, we were talking about making those distinctions. What is sexuality? What is gender? And gender falls into the male-female realm, and it would be apparent that we do feel differently from sex to sex, I guess. So there is that, but we're both male and female within us. So we're going to have those influences running inside of ourselves. Then we have environment. Then we have sexuality, which is a physical expression. I think you said, Joan, when we were looking at the Wikipedia definition of physiological. What do you remember what that said? It was interesting.
Because we were looking at the difference between gender and sexuality.
Right.
And I think of sexuality as, as what turns you on, who you're attracted to, and, what gives you what your sexual preferences are. But gender is more about how you identify your body. Do you identify as male? Do you identify as female? And, that as I say that's, and that's where people feel transgendered. They feel like they feel like they were born in the wrong body. And then, that once they can have, sexual reassignment surgery, then they feel better about themselves. They feel more fit. But what I see going on is that there is, it's getting to a point where you're comfortable being whoever you are. And it is okay being whoever you are. And we were actually even talking about that there's hormonal things going on, and there's been hormonal things added to the foods we eat and stuff. And so there could be some biological things that are shifting with our confusions as well. So,
it's interesting, all the emotional that comes up around